today's Friday, and the driver's meeting for small tire class at Dig or Die is at 10:30 tomorrow. So in just about 24 hours. Nick has... We got to get a drive shaft in it, but I think he's got that taken care of. The electrical system has to come out of the old chassis, which is what I'm about to go do right now. I'm going to go pull that, and we'll get that put in this other car. And what else? I don't know. There's a lot of work that has to be done still, but we're getting close. In 24 hours, we probably can make it. I think it's about 2 hours of driving, which is not terrible. And then that's one of the reasons, like, if we were in New York right now in the same exact situation, we would have to leave in 10 hours, and we wouldn't be able to, I don't know, I can't say we wouldn't be able to do it, but, like, it would put a lot more pressure on us. So being down here in North Carolina, like, that's another bonus for what we're doing. We're able to work longer because the drives aren't as long, like when we were in New York, so. But I'm going to go pull the electrical system and hopefully be able to shower before we make it to the race tomorrow. I think we're going to make it to the race. Like, we've been in worse situations. So, it'll be good.
Dude, it looks like a Corvette or a Piper. Like from a distance. Oh, they are going to be whining. Oh, that is awesome.
I couldn't find headers, so Thursday night, I went and bought some factory exhaust manifolds.
Right. Look at that, dude. And they fit perfect. Yeah, it worked. Mostly. Dude.
You got a boot block in here.
Dude. I am, man.
It's in a 16.5-inch crankshaft somewhere.
Hey, they moved the driver's meeting until 11:30. All right, it's Saturday, and we didn't know what the status was going to be of the car. As you had seen in the previous video, we are borrowing Turbo John's car, and we got it ready for Dig or Die today. I'm sitting here on the starting line waiting for driver's meeting, and Nick is working on the car. When he was getting ready to pull it out of the trailer, the door that we had built on the driver's side, the wind caught it and ripped it open, and it ripped off of the car itself. So the window wasn't up. I don't even know if the window's in it, but if the window was in it, it probably wouldn't have done that. So Nick is back at the trailer fixing it, but we've made a couple test hits, and previous to arriving here at Rockingham, and the car seemed to be working pretty good, so Nick's feeling pretty confident about it. He's got some things to adjust, you could say, before he actually makes a pass. But I'm sitting here waiting for driver's meeting to start. We're signed up for the race, and we'll see how it goes.
Good job, girl.
Thank you. All right, Nick's getting ready to do some work. So I'm gonna summarize a little bit of what happened on Saturday. Driver's meeting was scheduled to be at 10:30, and we pulled into the track around like 10:25. So it was really kind of cutting it close on time. We had loaded up the car last minute kind of in the trailer and headed out to Rockingham Dragway. And so we get there at 10:25-ish. I run down to driver's meeting while Nick is getting ready to unload the car, and I find out that the driver's meeting is scheduled for 11:30. They had switched the times because I think there was some traffic for the promoters getting to the track, whatever it was. So they rescheduled the driver's meeting to 11:30. At which point I went back to the trailer to help Nick get the car ready to race. Fast forward to the driver's meeting. I went up for chip draw and I pulled chip 22. So we were the 22nd pair and we were in the left lane. There was 34 pairs, and the 35th pair was a bye. So that was good because we were at the end kind of the round, and we were able to see how some of the cars in front of us were performing going down the track. Now, we have raced at this track before, so it wasn't anything like that we didn't have a little bit of a knowledge base on. Hi, Rexy. So we go down for first round, and we go down for first round, and Nick does the burnout. I line him up. Now, mind you, the car is a new setup, so there's a lot that we're learning still, and we haven't been continuously racing since the accident because we obviously didn't have a car to race. So I lined him up, and I was not exactly happy with the positioning of where I put him in the groove. He was a little bit further outside the groove than I wanted him to be, but it wasn't anything that I was uncomfortable with, so we went with it. And Nick made his pass. He won first round. We were able to see a little bit better about how the car was reacting, and we got a little bit of data for it, so that was good. Nick had texted me and said that there was oil that came out of the breather tube, and so I got a ride down to the end of the track. Now, we were pitted down that way anyways, but I got a ride down near the end of the track where Nick was, and he said, the car sounds fine. It seemed like it ran fine. I don't think it's hurt, but we need to look at what is going on because there shouldn't be oil coming out of the breather onto the windshield the way it happened. So he drove it over to the pit, and we pulled off the valve cover. Now, I don't think I got any footage of it, but when you're running methanol, Nick said, he explained it to me basically that the some of the methanol bypasses through the rings and doesn't really burn off, so it ends up getting mixed in with the oil in the motor, and it changes the color and the consistency of the oil. Like right after the pass, you would notice it. Usually we would hook a vacuum up to the breather to help get the alcohol vapors out of the oil, and Nick runs an oil heater as well to help keep that oil, like, to help preserve its consistency and make it last a little bit longer. Having that methanol in the oil doesn't really hurt anything. It's not something that's broken. It's not something that you can really avoid. There's ways to kind of minimize the effects of running a car on methanol, but you can't completely avoid that. So Nick decided that we were going to drain the oil and see how the oil looks. Now, when we drain the oil, again, we saw that weird consistency that you would typically see with a car that's run on methanol. And he took a piece of paper and kind of used it as like a filter. You can kind of drain it. While the oil is draining, you put the piece of paper under the oil and it will catch, or you will see pieces of metal if they're there. So when Nick did that, there was nothing. It was clean. And we were getting ready to, I went and got another oil filter. I was on my way to go get some oil from a fellow racer who had some. And Nick was draining the oil pan, just cleaning up, you know, the mess, or keeping it from being a mess. And at the bottom of the pan, there was metal pieces from most likely bearing. So we decided that we were going to play it safe and we weren't going to run the car for second round. Now, mind you, I had already gone down for chip draw prior to seeing the metal in the oil at the bottom of the drain pan, and we were supposed to run a guy named Cy. We were going to be second pair, and we were supposed to be in the right lane. But because we had decided last minute that we weren't going to be running because we had found that metal bearing in the drain pan, Cy got a competition by. We were really hoping that we were going to be able to get the car ready and down there for second round, but that's how it goes sometimes. And we're getting ready probably in a couple hours to look over the motor and find out if there's anything wrong, where that metal bearing came from. Now, one of the things the metal bearing could have come from is when we broke the rod at Crossville last year. It could have, you know, the motor just could have not been cleaned out all the way, and it might have come from that. Something could have happened when Nick was in the accident in November. We don't really know exactly what it was, but we're gonna find out. And we decided that the best thing to do, because it's so early in the season, because it's hard to find parts, we didn't want to hurt the motor and have it become a big issue. So we decided that it was best to not run second round. And I think we made a good choice. I don't know what we're going to find under the motor once we get it pulled apart, but best case scenario is nothing's wrong. And we have that peace of mind now for the next time we take the car out racing, that, you know, the motor's in good shape and there's nothing that we should be concerned about or worried, you know, that this is about to break any minute now. So we'll get it figured out, and we're gonna get ready to go rounds hopefully in the next couple races. So I don't know, we really appreciate Turbo John for letting us borrow the car. He told us if we wanted to come get it, that it was just sitting there, and he has plans for it in the future, but he doesn't have a use for it at the moment. And so he said if we wanted to come pick it up and use it for the year or a couple months or whatever it is, that we were more than welcome to do it. And Nick told him his plans with the car, you know, before we even went and picked it up. So John, we really appreciate you helping us out, having faith in us, and allowing Nick to be creative with the car. Meanwhile, with the ability to put the car back to the way you had it prior to us picking it up. So it'll be easy to put that K member back on and have it sit exactly the way John had it when he left it. And I know there are a lot of people that had concerns because John had told in some of his previous videos that there was issues with the car, that there was things that were failing, and they were going to have to put a lot of work into the car. And we were also fully aware of that when we picked it up. John told us, you know, that Nick was going to have to do some reinforcing, some bracing, whatever you want to call it. There was things that we're going to need looked at prior to actually taking it down the track again. So that was the first thing Nick jumped on when we brought the car back and put it in the shop. There was no way that he was going to just take the car down the track the way it was and make sure that it wasn't safe. So I don't know. The cars, it reacted good. It went straight. It ran basically how Nick expected it to run. Like I said, there's some fine tuning we have to do. There's a couple changes we're going to have to make with the setup, but it'll all come together. It's a new setup, and anybody who has a new setup is going to have to make those changes. It's not going to run perfectly exactly how it should the very first time it goes down the track. So it's all a learning curve, and we are working the way through it. So I guess that's all for now. Nick's gonna, like I said, we're probably gonna pull the car out, and actually Nick talked about doing it in the trailer because we still have the stacker. The lift is in there, and we might just put the car up on the lift and pull the pan down, check the bearings, and see how the motor looks all together. So hopefully we'll be doing that here shortly. If we have to order up some parts, we can, and get things back together for the next race. I don't know if we're gonna race this weekend. There's a couple different races happening, or if it's gonna be in a couple weekends, but yeah, we'll have the car ready. Rex is out here sunbathing. Rexy. Hi. He's the best dog ever. I think we're gonna do a t-shirt with Rex on it. Maybe some stickers. What do you think, Rex? Will we do a shop supervisor shirt for you? Oh. Hi.